Everyone. It's Monday. We're all preparing for a great week and looking ahead towards Mother's Day. And throughout this week, I wanted to share just a few devotionals for moms based on moms from Scripture. Of course, our devotional tonight's brought by Clearly Canadian Fancy Soda Water. It's for all of you who love soda water and that special refreshing crisp snap of longing for the past with our sodas. So there it is, a little Clearly Canadian. So tonight we're going to look at Hagar from Genesis chapter 16, verses 7 through 13. Good to click open on your phone or look at it a little bit later. Hagar is an Egyptian servant of Sarah, Abram's wife. And God promises Abram and Sarah that they'll be the parents of many generations and lots of offspring. It isn't happening for them, and they're getting older, and so they try to take matters into their own hands. And Sarah offers her servant, Hagar, to become Abram's concubine and provide the son that so far has not been introduced into the story. And that starts an entire series of frustrations and mistreatments and disrespect. Hagar disrespecting Sarah, Sarah mistreating Hagar. And it would lead to a separation where Hagar, who was pregnant with her soon-to-be born son Ishmael, and she runs away. And while she runs away, she is struck in that moment by the Lord. She hears from him and he speaks to her. He sees her in her pain and her struggle and suffering. And this is what we read. The angel of the Lord found Hagar by a spring of water in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going? She said, I'm fleeing my mistress, Sarai. The angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit to her. The angel of the Lord also said to her, I will surely multiply your offspring so that they cannot be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said to her, behold, you are pregnant and shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has listened to your affliction. He shall be a wild donkey of a man, his hand against everyone and everyone's hand against him, and he shall dwell over against all his kinmen. So she called the name of the Lord who spoke to her. You are a God of seeing, for she said, truly, here I have seen him who looks after me. So there are moments in our lives where we feel that way, where we feel invisible. Not that we're physically unseen like some magic power, but we're rather overlooked, unnoticed. Like your story is quietly paused while somebody else's, everyone else's, seems to be moving forward with much more celebration. And that's where Hagar finds herself in Genesis 16. She's been used, she's been mistreated, she's ultimately cast out, she's pregnant, she's alone, she wanders into the wilderness with no clear direction, no one to turn to. Her situation is complicated, her situation is painful, and her pain is hard. And yet it's there in the wilderness that God meets her. Not in comfort, not in resolution, but in the middle of her stress, in the middle of her pain, in the middle of that distress that she feels. The angel of the Lord finds her, and the angel of the Lord comforts her and speaks to her. He calls her by name and he asks her questions. He makes promises. And in response, Hagar does something that's remarkable. She gives God a name. She says, "You are the God who sees me." Now think about that. It's a striking moment in Scripture. We realize that in that moment, Hagar becomes the first person in Scripture recorded as giving God a name. Not Abraham, not Isaac, not Jacob, this woman, this servant, this outsider. And the name that she gives him is not a name that's drawn from comfort. It's a name that's drawn from crisis. You are the God who sees me. In the place where she felt most invisible, she discovered something true about God that had not yet been spoken aloud in Scripture. He is the one who sees me. Before her situation changes, before anything's resolved, she knows this truth. God sees her. He sees her pain. He knows her story. He sees her where she is, not where she wishes that she could be. And for her, that changes everything. The promises made to her in that moment change everything. We often assume that what we need most is for our circumstances to change. But the truth is, our hearts first need the assurance that we're not alone in those complicated, difficult, painful, hard circumstances, that we're not alone, that we're seen, that we're known, and that we're met by God right where we are. And some of the hardest seasons of life, it's not that they're just painful, they're isolating. You can be surrounded by people and still feel unseen and misunderstood and forgotten. But the God of Scripture is not distant from those places. He's the God who sees. He sees the quiet sacrifices that no one else notices. He hears the silent prayers that you pray in your heart, but never aloud. He knows the burdens that you carry silently. He sees the places where your life hasn't gone the way that you planned. And just like Hagar, you may find that God meets you, not after everything is fixed, but he meets you in the middle of the mess that needs to be fixed. And this is where our Mother's Day journey begins. On Sunday, we're going to be considering the story of Hannah from 1 Samuel chapter 1. And before Hannah is heard, she's seen by God. Before anything changes in her life, God is already present. The same is true for you. Where is it in your life that you feel unseen or overlooked right now? But take a moment tonight. Think about that. Name that place honestly before God. God, this is how I feel. This is where I feel isolated or alone or overlooked. And you don't have to go to God with polished words. You don't have to pray in the King James. You can pray with a real heart. Remember, being seen by God, that's not the end of the story. That's just where healing usually begins. So when you pray, you can pray, God, you are the one who sees me completely. You know every part of my life. You know the parts that feel strong. You know the parts that feel broken. Help me to trust that I am never overlooked by you. Thank you for meeting me in the places where I feel unseen, and remind me that your presence is with me even before anything changes. Make that your prayer tonight, and I'll catch you later tomorrow for another Mother's Day